Now we are discussing the differences of switch and repeater and bridge. We have heard these terminologies. You may little bit get confused. These terminologies are looking almost similar. Switch, bridge and repeater. Now we want to distinguish what is actual work of switch, what is actual work of bridge, what is actual work of repeater. First we will discuss about that. Switch. We use switch to connect two devices in a computer network. That devices may be mobiles or computer. I am calling at present two devices that may be computers. To connect two computers, we require a switch. Sir, why to connect switch? Without switch, can't we manage? If we connect the two computers without switch, whenever we require to stop the communication between these two computers to control some information, then it is difficult. We can directly operate the electric fans and tube lights without switches. Why we require switches? It is wastage of money, because directly from transformer supply is coming. Directly you give the lines to fans and lights. Yes, that is correct. But we don't need the fans and lights always. So that's why whenever we require, we want to establish the connection to the fan. Switch is doing that. Just to connect. Switch is not giving electricity to the fan. Electricity is coming to the board, only it is establishing the connection. Similarly, switch will not generate any frames, switch will not generate any packets, switch does not generate any data, but whatever the data is coming from one computer, if we want to connect two computers to establish the communication, the switch will help. Two devices to establish the communication between the two devices, we need a switch. Whereas bridge, it divides the entire network into two subparts. Sir, why only two subparts? You make 4 subparts. You can make n number of subparts. To divide a network into sub-networks, we require the bridge. Why I have to divide, sir? If you divide, then you can properly organize that sub-network. Whenever particularly traffic is more towards that sub-network, you can give more priority to adjust that traffic control by dividing a network into sub-networks. What is repeater is doing? It is receiving the signal and it is trying to regenerate the signal. If the noise is there in the signal also, it will generate a original signal without the noise. So we are saying repeater is different from amplifier. Switch to connect two devices. Bridge to divide a network into sub-networks. Repeater to regenerate the original signal. Switch function is to connect two devices. Bridge function is to divide the network into sub-networks. Repeater function is to regenerate the signal. Switch will work in the data link layer level, because we are connecting the two computers, and the repeater is working in the physical layer level, because the data transmission, there only we want to remove the noise and to regenerate the original signal. Definitely we will not use the repeater in other levels of the OSI model. We use repeater only in the wire, physical transmission. So this is physical layer, there is no doubt at all. Bridge we use in the data link layer, but in the bridge we use repeaters also. That's why we are saying it is operating in physical layer and a data link layer. Regeneration is not possible here. Switch, what regeneration it will do? What electricity this switch can regenerate? Only it can give whatever the supply it is coming. If sometimes it is not 230 RMS, if it is coming 460 RMS, switch will give that 460 RMS only. Suddenly all devices will burn. Because what is the function of this switch? Just to give whatever it is coming, it will give. So it will not regenerate any signal. Bridge, what it can regenerate? Simply it will divide the network. No regeneration. But repeater can regenerate the signal because it is operating in the physical layer. Switch is costly. To connect the two computers, we are making an efficient switch. Why it is costly? Because we are making sure that if error is there, we are stopping the packets. If error is there, in order to establish the reliable communication, even though the packets are being sent from the long distance, error is there, discard those packets. Error is there because I am talking in the data link layer level. If error is there, discard those frames. Error checking is done. And the frames without error, those frames only can be forwarded. That's why it is costly. But here, error is there means you send that, and without the error, it will regenerate the signal, but it will not discard. Here, there is no such thing will be done here. Now, we are discussing about, it is a point-to-point device. It is also point-to-point device, host-to-host communication, switch device-to-device communication. But here this is a broadcasting device. A repeater is a broadcasting device. Next we use the destination address here. Switch can understand the destination address. Repeater does not know where the data is being sent. And bridge can also understand the destination address. We use the buffer here, but we don't use the buffer here and we don't use the buffer here. Why we are using the buffer here? Because to store the data, the frames, we have to make the frames wait until the communication becomes idle. Until there is no communication in the link, we have to make the data to wait. That's why we are using buffers here. We are not using the buffers here. These are the main differences in the switch and repeater and bridge. Now you tell me, which device out of these three can regenerate the signal?
Repeater.
Which device we use to divide a network into sub-networks?
Bridge.
Which device we use to connect the two computers?
Switch.
Switch. Which device operates only in the physical layer level? Repeater. Which devices are working in data link layer? Switch and bridge. If we use repeater in the bridge, then it will operate in both physical layer and data link layer levels. Okay. Where we use the buffer, the possibility of usage of chance of buffer in switch. These are some important points. Cost wise, this is very costly. Bridge is low cost. This is medium cost. Repeater is medium cost. Okay, these are the main differences between the switch and repeater and bridge. Okay.